This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute professional advice. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of their affiliated organizations.
Welcome back, everybody, to Ready to Connect. I am Lisa.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Ryan.
And today we're going to continue our Haunted America series to the Rocky Mountain states of Idaho, Utah, and Arizona. But before we start that, would love to hear how everybody's weekend went. I can go first. I don't mind. It was Easter weekend, so I had family here on Easter and got to make, even though my grandson's only 10 months old, he is getting Easter gifts, which mainly consisted of pureed baby food and teething snacks. But hey, it's still something he enjoyed. He knew exactly what it was. He tried to put everything in his mouth. So it was fun. It was fun. It was a fun day to have the family here for sure. Absolutely for sure. And the Saturday before was spent, of course, just cooking, cleaning, and getting ready for that. So that was my weekend. It was cold. I thought it was kind of cold this weekend. Saturday was nice, but it was cold. How about you guys?
Heather, you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a really funny story, actually. Nothing ghostly related. So on Friday, we had to go to a retirement party.
I can tell it's going to be a good one.
It was fantastic. So we walk into this retirement party, and I'm looking down the tables, and there's this woman standing there. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe Kim is here. So Kim is an acquaintance of ours through our networking group that we used to belong to, and I believe Ryan used to belong to. And Kim has a business called Keep It Moving with Kim. Well, when I flew down to Tennessee a couple weeks ago, we had Kim pick us up because we had to be at the airport at some really ungodly hour, and it was just fantastic to have someone pick us up right at 3:15 in the morning. So I'm looking down the tables. I'm like, wow, what a small world. And it is a small world. So me and the fashion of Heather, and most of you know the fashion of Heather. And if you don't, I'm very outgoing and very embracing and, kind and loving. So I go walking down. I give this woman a big hug. I give her a big kiss. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so great to see you. And she looks at me and she's like, great to see you too. Now the little spidey senses are going, oh no, this isn't Kim. Now, mind you, this woman looked like spinning image of Kim. So then I decided, well, I'm just not going to embarrass her because I've already kissed her on the cheek. I've already given her a big hug. Already told her I was excited to see her. So I decided to say to her, I'm like, so how long have you known Raymond? And she's like, 47 years. And I'm like, oh, this really isn't Kim. So I was like, oh my God, that's fantastic. I was like, it was so great to see you. And I dodged back over to my table.
Can you imagine what this woman is saying in her mind? And after Heather leaves, who was that?
and she was, because she looked over at some other coworkers and she was like, who is this? Right. So for the rest of the night at the party, you'd see her circling around me, trying to figure out who I am. It was hysterical, but I went running up there, hugged and kissed her, and I was talking, and I was like, "It's so great to see you," and I just took back off. Once I got Lisa, I'm like, "Oh my God, you're never gonna know what I did," and she's like, "Oh God, here we go."
And on a Friday night and know she's out at a party, I wouldn't normally get a call from her or anything like that. And we have a business together, and I had two clients here doing some artwork and stuff like that with me and stuff. And I feel my butt buzz because I had my phone in my pocket. And I'm like, and then it was like a phone call buzzing, and I quickly said, oh my God, why is Heather calling? So I get the ladies all settled. And when I get out of the room, I call her back. I said, is everything okay? She's like, oh, I totally forgot you had clients. And she's like, I have to tell you this story. Oh, it was like, it made my night. It made my night. But we've all been there, right? We've all been in that kind of situation where we think we recognize somebody.
Yes. Yeah. Whenever that happens to me, I just awkwardly end up staring at the person. And then they look back at me and I'm like, oh, wait, that's not that person.
Oh no,
But,
I kept going. I ran
but
over.
you just
I
went for
kissed
it.
on the cheek, big hug, big Heather hug. And I was like, it's so great to see you, completely animated, which is my true, normal fashion of greeting people. But when she ever kind of withdrew and gave me like the side eye of like, it's great to see you too. I was
Yeah.
like, oh.
Wow. Okay, so $1 million question. Did you talk to Kim afterwards? To tell her
No, I
that
do want to call and tell her that I met her doppelganger for sure.
exactly. Yes.
Oh my God, but so funny because for the rest of the night, you just see her circling around me, really trying to figure out who I am. Oh God, it was great. It was a great laugh. It was a great reminder that, they say there's a doppelganger for everybody. And I truly met Kim's doppelganger, like right down to the same kind of glasses they wear, the
Really?
same hairstyle, same color. Like, I mean, I honestly, and for me, I'm a very visual person. So like, it was like spitting image and it wasn't her.
Most of us, when we get in that situation, say, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Not
Right.
Heather. Just going to keep going on. Yeah. Now
I just
that
left it at, it was so great to see you.
is at her house now, looking through photograph after photograph after photograph. She can find Heather in these. And like, is she an old people person? How do I know her?
Oh God, yeah. When she ever said she knew Raymond for 47 years, and he just retired from last week from Gerber, and he worked there almost 50 years. So like, I knew immediately this was not Kim. But it was a great. What?
I said, what about you, Ryan? How was your weekend?
Well, the weekend itself was pretty decent. I got to see some family, so that was good. But I suppose I could share the recent story of RS Haven Media.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, considering we have talked about Gregory on here, we could talk about that story. So basically, we found out the other day that there was a fire in the building again. And for listeners who have listened to previous episodes of Ready to Connect, we found out that there was a fire in the 60s, and that perhaps the spirit that we've contacted through their Gregory, he may have had some information witnessing it. So, long story short, a couple days ago, we found out. Well, I was outside with Watson. I live very close to RS Haven Media, just down the street, and I heard all these sirens. Well, Watson heard them too. He was quite nervous because they were a bit loud, and I said, okay, they're probably close by. So I looked at our fire department's website because it can say like where they're at or what's going on just very vaguely. But I saw RS Haven Media's address and that building, and I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. And it said like fire, like second floor, and I was like, uh-oh. So long story short, thankfully, it was just in one of the bathrooms, went over to the other bathrooms. But for listeners who don't know, the bathrooms are literally right next to our studio. Like literally, we share that wall. So yeah, thankfully the fire was just contained into the bathrooms because of the ceiling fans. Hopefully we don't have any smoke damage. That's the plan. But we are just so thankful that our space was spared. So huge shout out to Gregory for protecting the space, because that would have been crazy. It would have been devastating.
So, I was like, knowing it's funny because whenever you get a text from somebody that starts out with, first of all, I'm fine and so is my dog.
Yeah.
Go, holy shit, what happened?
Yeah.
There's a fire in the
And then
building.
I saw fire, and I'm thinking, you're on fire. Your house is on fire. I'm like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
Then I thought, well, you were with Watson in the studio, and you got out in the nick of time. Is what is going on. mind, I'm like, oh my God. So whenever you get something like, first of all, I'm fine, you know something is that.
Yeah.
And then I just started to worry for your equipment that you have in that studio, right?
Hey everybody, love Ready to Connect? Become a Patreon supporter for $1 a month, and that'll earn you a shout out or a credit roll.
Love Ready to Connect? Why not support us with a Ready to Connect enthusiast tier? For $5 a month, you get exclusive content as well as power voting on our next topics, in addition to everything you would get as a Ready to Connect supporter.
If you love Ready to Connect and you want to become a Ready to Connect insider for $10 a month, in addition to everything that you'll get in the other two tiers, you will also get a chance to be a guest on our podcast. All tiers, no matter how you choose to support Ready to Connect, you will be getting the podcast episodes a day early.
Thanks for supporting us.
We have years worth of equipment there because Chris and I, when we first started this business, we just compiled both of our personal equipment to help create the business. So that's what's in there. But that's literally like 20 years worth of equipment in there. So yeah, so I mean, thankfully I'm going to knock on wood. Thankfully we have insurance and everything, so it covered if anything were to happen. But I'm just so thankful that the fire was contained to just those two rooms rather than going over one wall into ours. So, wow. That was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally opened that message. I saw dog, you, fire, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Type it as fast as I can.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I went back to it, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Did not respond appropriately, but I'm glad it all worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, it just so happened it was crazy. We happened to be outside when, we heard the fire trucks. If we weren't, I mean, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have known. Instead, it would have been like, someone from the building contacting us possibly later that night or the next day being like, hey, this is what happened. So, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Let's continue on with our Haunted America series, and we'll start with the state of Idaho, which is where I centered my research on. And you remember when we were talking about Alfred Hitchcock, director of horror movies and stuff, and I had said probably his most famous movie would be Psycho. I mean, most of his movies are famous, but that was probably the one that most people will hearken to or know about Alfred Hitchcock because of that image of the woman being stabbed in the shower, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that whole movie took place in the Bates Motel. Norman Bates was the character right? In the Bates Motel. Well, guess what? The Bates Motel is in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Really? I never would have guessed that.
The
Huh.
Bates Motel. Now, not the set, and obviously it doesn't look exactly like the Bates Motel that is in the movie, and they did not shoot the movie at this Bates Motel, but the Bates Motel in Idaho, it is where it is rumored that the author of the story Psycho, Robert Bloch, actually stayed at this motel in the 1950s. So that's kind of interesting. And they have the very famous sign, the Bates Motel sign. I guess there is some rumors that in the 80s, sometime in the 80s, a movie was also filmed there, but I don't think it was a Psycho movie. But the production crew that created the very famous sign, the Bates Motel sign, gave it to the motel when it wrapped. So the Bates Motel, it actually started out as a barracks for officers before and after World War II. After the war, the property was sold. It was sold and it was turned into a motel, and it was called the Roadway Inn at that time. After a few years, or quite some years, it was purchased by Randy Bates, a prominent accountant that lived in the local area, and he renamed it the Bates Motel, even before the movie came out, was released. So it's interesting, during this lifetime of the Bates Motel, there have been numerous guests that have reported lots of paranormal activity during their stay, particularly in rooms 1, 3, and 9 through 11. those are the rooms that have claimed to have experienced some of the following things: ghostly apparitions and feelings of being watched. We all know what that feels like, right? Hair on the back of the head. Flickering lights and hearing odd noises. Witnessing the mysterious movement of objects in the room. So if you can imagine being in the room and seeing the objects move. Cold spots, freezing spots, those kind of things. And then, of course, getting anxiety, like unnerving anxiety, feeling that. Now, what's interesting about the Bates Motel is that it closed its doors in 2015. But it is quite the iconic piece of thing. But it reopened not as the Bates Motel, but as a lighthouse in 2017, I think. I was trying to really research this because I thought, well, gee, maybe we could stay there because it's a budget motel, and it was reported that the rooms were only $49 a piece. I'm like, cool.
That's incredible.
Right. So I think it went back on the market though, because I don't think the lighthouse really did well. And from what I could garner from reading and researching it and reading different people's accounts on Yelp, and somebody went to visit it because they wanted to go to the site that the movie Psycho, that Bates Motel was the kind of the impetus for. And so they wanted to go see there, and they heard about paranormal activity. But from what I gathered, only a couple rooms were available to be rented as a motel. The rest were used as by residents. So people just pay rent to stay in that motel room like forever, which made me think of the show Schitt's Creek, that, that family that moved, that inherited a motel and they ended up living in it, right? So I did a little search on the actual address, and Zillow has it listed not for sale, so it's not on the market anymore, but its estimated value is over $1 million. That's interesting.
Oh, wow.
But what I understand, you can get a room there now, a pet-friendly studio
Oh,
that you can book at that address. So I'm thinking if we do go, we could bring Watson.
yeah, we'll have to train him in, finding ghosts.
Yeah.
He'll be like a little Ghostbuster.
I don't know if we can stay, because in room 1, which is the room that I think has the most paranormal activity in it, apparently there's a resident that stays there that has reported to a manager, I think this was back in like 10 years ago, that the sheets were being pulled from him at night and things like that. But when asked about that by people who were just traveling through, he got really angry that the manager even shared that information. So I don't know. I don't interesting. But I wanted to report on it because we were talking about Alfred Hitchcock before. But I think even more interesting are some other places in Idaho. This one is called the Stricker Ranch and Stagecoach Stop. It's also known as Rock Creek Station, either one. It's a historic spot. You find it in Hanson, Idaho. It used to be a stop along the Oregon Trail.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, you could stop there, get something to eat, whatever. Many travelers, however, didn't make it to their final destination. Obviously, the Oregon Trail was a rough trail to do, and many people died of illness and sickness and things. So some of those people are buried there that didn't quite make it. So it is said to be haunted by friendly ghosts.
Oh, good.
Friendly ghosts.
I feel like this is one of the rare times that we see some friendly ghosts. Like the majority of these stories are like, oh, these people are angry or sad or,
pushing you off a bridge into the water.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So there's a historic home at Rock Creek Station. The house was built in 1901 by Herman Stricker and his partner, John Bodsett, on a site that had already been a stagecoach station for more than 35 years. So the site where that stagecoach station was, where they built their home. And there's a small cemetery behind the property, where some of those unlucky travelers of the Oregon Trail are buried. So people who visit say they've seen shadowy figures there. Others have sensed the bustling presence of Herman Stricker's wife. So Mrs. Stricker is probably the more famous or well-known ghost that frequents that. So more reports of her friendly apparition as a former matriarch of this home, has been seen moving through the old home and watching over it. So, and apparently she's very friendly, greets you, that kind of stuff. So, other things that happen at the Stricker station, the Stricker Ranch, is sounds. They feel, people who visit, they feel like a very kind presence that's watching them, along with the sounds of footsteps and rustling skirts of Mrs. Stricker. So that's something there. Of course, shadowy figures seen in the cemetery and around the home. There have been reports of lanterns swinging in the dark near the family cemetery. So they see like strange lights.
Hmm.
Yeah. It is a very popular spot for paranormal investigations to take place. Some of the reports of those investigators are doors opening and closing of their own. And there have been children that have visited this place that claim to see a smiling woman who vanishes. And that's thought to be Mrs. Stricker. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's going to be me. I'm going to be the smiling woman giving you hugs and kisses and running away. I do it in reality. Might as well do it in my death, right?
But you're gonna see that ghost that says, "So great to see you," and then disappear.
What color will you be wearing? Because we'll have to put you on the map.
Most likely red. I love my
Okay.
red.
Lady in red who runs up
Lady
and
in
gives you a
red.
hug and says, "It's so great to see you."
Come on, you can totally see this happening.
I can. I totally can, for sure. And right with her will be all her cats, and the one you'll hear will be the one who's on her lap right now, Mr. Sophie.
I had to mute it while you were talking because he was at the bottom of the stairs howling.
Oh.
I get it. I get it. Yep. So one of the other places I found is the Idaho State Tuberculosis Hospital. So we've talked about tuberculosis before. So, I mean, back in the day, this was a disease that claimed a lot of people before they could figure out how to treat it, right? So there is a former Idaho State Tuberculosis Hospital that's located in Gooding, Idaho. Originally, though, originally it was part of the Gooding College campus. From 1917 to 1938, there was a college campus there. So originally it was part of that, before it was converted into a hospital. And the hospital was established in 1947. So it could accommodate up to 150 patients. And of course, they were all there for, their treatment. It's interesting that when it closed in 1976, it closed because obviously we didn't need a hospital for tuberculosis at that time. We then came across how to treat it, how to cure it for people. But later, this area was converted it operated as something called the Walker Center. And then later was used as a private haunted attraction or lodging. Yep. Yep. So the reports of hauntings are varied, but you get sightings of apparitions of children. People who visit feel they've been traumatized by negative energy, whatever that trauma looks like. But I think the main thing that have been reported are ghostly children that are there, and there's apparently an angry male spirit. Now, this place was featured in the Ghost Adventures in their season 21. And I don't know if you know that TV show, The Ghost Adventures, but and I don't remember the names of the investigators, but one of them is known for like shouting for apparitions to hit them, to like interact with them almost in a negative way. And I have to wonder if the angry male spirit might be not really angry, but just doing what was asked of him. Yeah, I'll hit you kind of thing. We talk about this sometimes in our psychic classes and discussions and psychic circles about spirits, and it's often a question about demonic spirits and things like that, and angry spirits. And we give an example of investigators that go in thinking it's going to be a mean spirit and say, go ahead, you can hit me, you can bite me. And, you say it enough. I mean, if you're telling me to hit you thousands of times, I probably will.
Yeah, eventually you'll get annoyed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, after 2012, new owners came in and renamed this to be called the University Inn to give, uh, I guess, homage or to honor the fact that it was once a university campus. And it has been operating as that um, for the past years. So I did check it out. You can go stay at the University Inn. Um, it's interesting when you go to the website. It'll say right on the front page, if you're looking for a Marriott experience, this is not it. Because of the way the buildings are created, I mean, they were obviously at first dormitories, right? So they're
Mm.
not necessarily created to be like a luxury hotel. So it is given, they transformed it into hotel rooms and meeting spaces, but it's still very much, I guess, the character of a university building. Um, Even though a lot of things have changed, there's still quite a lot of supernatural things that happen there. So one Idaho paranormal team went in and rented the whole building, the entire building, to perform an investigation to see what they could pick up. And they were said to have caught several voices. The most prominent is still the voice of a small child. Yeah. So that was interesting. He also said that they caught the voice of of a child saying, "Bye, Dada." Bye, Dada, like saying goodbye to his father. And I wonder if it was a child who was left in a hospital room, you know,
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Interesting. They were touched. Some investigators were touched. They became overwhelmed with emotions in different places. So that was just interesting. They caught more audio than visual area. So I don't know. You can go stay there. So maybe that's a place we check out in Idaho. And before we leave Idaho, I just want to make mention of something I found that I thought was really strange and odd. And maybe if we do a cryptid series, different cryptids in our country, we'll have to go back and revisit Idaho because in the Owhyhee Mountains is spelled Owyhee. It is said that hidden in the shadows of those mountains are creatures, according to the Shoshone and Bannock, I guess must be tribes stories. These mountains are home to cannibal dwarves.
Hmm.
Yes, I have seen. I can't remember if that's on history.com or if it's on discovery.com, but one of those TV shows did a full-fledged series on what you're speaking of.
Yeah. I read a little because, all right, that caught my attention, right?
Hmm.
Apparently, they do have a taste for humans,
Yep.
or than or
And they're
each other.
small. They're
2 feet
they're
tall,
yep.
2 feet tall, with long tails that they wrap around themselves to disguise their forms is what is reported. They're known to be very cunning hunters, and they lure children away. It was interesting. It is said that when the pioneers and the prospectors, of course, people looking for gold and silver, right, during that time, came into the mountains, the native tribes warned them about this, and those warnings went unheeded until stories of children disappearing in the mountains started to spread. And some say the missing children were simply lost in the rough terrain, but others say, nope, the dwarves that are in those mountains, these cannibalistic dwarves, were hiding and hunting and found them. And I did read the account of one, on these message boards that you come across sometimes, the accounting of one young lady or a lady, I don't know how young she was, but she was recounting when she was a child in this area. And her family were working in the hop fields. They must grow hops out in Idaho. She was left to lay on a blanket and she was sleeping on the blanket and she woke up and she said she saw this very, compact, it looked like an owl man, she said. It looked like an owl man. And she got up and ran away, but she is surmising she got close to being taken. Interesting,
Wow.
right? But we'll have to go back and look at that a little bit more. But I just found that interesting, and I couldn't just let it slide by. I had to bring it to the group and let y'all know about the cannibalistic dwarves in the Idaho mountains.
There's
I don't.
lots of stories about them. There's lots of documentation. Well, not lots. I would say there's documentation that was brought to light through either History or Discovery Channel doing, actually a cryptic series, and that was part of the cryptic series. So if our listeners want to hear cryptic stories, that's a great one to circle back to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was Idaho. So why don't we go down the country into who had Utah?
Oh, I did.
Oh, Ryan, I'm really excited to hear what you've got, because there's a famous ranch out there in Utah, and I'm wondering if you did some research on it.
Well, I actually, because it was so famous, I decided to look up other things.
All right.
But I know which one you're talking about. But yeah, I wanted to look into other things, other areas. First of all, I just have to say I visited Utah when I was a kid, and I just remember having like the bluest sky. That's just like the one thing that I remember about Utah. But it was pretty cool. But I found some fascinating things going on in Utah. First of all, we have a purple lady.
Oh, yay!
A lady in purple. And so she's one of the most famous, they're saying ghost legends tied to the historic Rio Grande.
Rio Grande.
Thank you. Train station. It was built in 1910 in Salt Lake City. Basically, the story goes, a young woman, often described wearing a purple dress, met her fiancé at the train station. They got into a heated argument. I can only imagine. This part kills me, though. But he threw her engagement ring onto the train tracks.
Oh.
She ran to retrieve it and was struck and killed by the train.
Oh.
I know. I'm like,
These are their diamonds. They need them, right? Oh my God, how awful!
yeah. As I was researching this, I'm like, don't do it. And then,
Wow.
He threw that ring knowing the train was going to get her.
oh, I hope not. I hope not. That's tough.
Oh man.
So since then, people claim that her spirit has never left the train station. So yes, over the decades, staff, visitors, security guards have reported seeing things such as seeing a woman in purple in the hallways or near the cafe, restrooms, hearing singing in the women's bathroom when no one is there, lights turning on and off, doors slamming, faucets turning on by themselves, footsteps, voices, you name it. But mostly, like, the cafe area is the hot spot. So yeah, basically, I couldn't really find, there wasn't any like solid historical record confirming that this actually happened. So that's why it's still kind of like, is it a legend? Did it really happen? It's still kind of up in the air. But they've been telling the story since around the early 1900s. So,
Oh. Well.
then I was wondering, well, record keeping back then, I don't know how that went. So hopefully they would record that if something happened.
Yeah. Okay.
But the next one is the Bear Lake Monster. So we're talking. So I found this interesting. So yeah, we're talking about cryptids. At least I guess we had that connection.
Yeah.
So basically, this has been people have been claiming to see this for over 150 years, and so basically, it's located in Bear Lake, which is straddling like northern Utah and southeastern Idaho, so around your neck of the woods, Lisa, where you were just reporting. But basically, what witnesses have described seeing is a creature that is long and like a snake, like a giant snake or eel, between. This is a wide range here, 20 and 90 feet long. I'm like, okay, that's a range. But
20 to 90 feet. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 20 to 90 feet long. Dark
So
color.
20 feet being a baby and 90 feet being a grown adult? I don't know.
There you go. I mean, maybe it's like a whale. I don't know. dark colored with a smoother scaled body. Sometimes it has legs. Sometimes it's seen having a dragon-like head. I don't know. But basically, it gained traction in the late 1800s, published by Joseph C. Rich in a local newspaper. He claimed that multiple settlers had seen the creature. Some stories said it could swim fast or dive deep. Yeah. Then also, it was reported that the Native Americans in the area, so yeah, at least the same ones that you reported, Shoshone,
Yeah.
referenced the lake creature, possibly being there before the settlers arrived. Um, in the 1800s, pioneers claimed to see it swimming or like coiling up in the water. Um, yeah, and the last time it was there's a sighting here happened in June of 2002.
Okay.
So I found that interesting. So,
It's interesting. If something like that has been cited for a century and more,
mm,
right?
mm-hmm.
You have to kind of believe that there's something there.
Yes,
You know what I
yes,
mean? Like,
absolutely.
obviously not the same exact monster that was cited 150 years ago, but
Yeah,
there's got to be something there as far as a race of animal or whatever. It's just like how many people have seen the Loch Ness monster, right? And still
uh,
claim it.
yeah,
There's got to be something there.
right, right, absolutely. I
Well,
know.
and Utah's a hotbed. I mean, you have a hotbed if we do ever go over to the cryptic side,
Mm,
but like Utah's a hotbed of property that is well known. I mean, in Utah, you have Skinwalker Ranch.
mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm,
also have Blind Frog Ranch, which are all documented shows on Discovery. But they speak heavily to, the Unitah Basin and the Unitah tribe, and also there's another tribe that's a part of this area. This is very big over there, right? So like the Ute tribe, the Ouray tribe, all talk about mythical creatures, as in the Skinwalkers, and even Blind Frog Ranch was another series that they ran for a while, where they broke into the mountainside and all the frogs were literally like crepe paper. They were clear, and because they lived in the dark. So like there's a lot
mm,
of folklore and myth that happens in the three corners we're actually covering today.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Very much.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last plate, which thank you for that, Heather. The last story that I found here is at Southern Utah University, and it's a building called Old Main. It's one of the most famous haunted buildings in Utah, and it comes from possibly a legend. I'm bringing this up because I'm curious as to both of your thoughts on this one. So, basically, it's located on this building. Old Main is located on the campus in Cedar City, Utah. It was built in 1898 as the university's first building. Made from locally sourced materials, including sandstone from the nearby hills. That's going to become important in a second. So there is a ghost called Virginia, and this whole legend or haunting revolves around her. So a young woman named Virginia was murdered near Cedar City in the late 1800s. That's a tongue twister. Her body was found on a large sandstone rock. That same rock was supposedly used to build the old main building. So because of this, they think that her spirit is connected to the building. So, students and staff over the years have reported seeing a figure in the third floor windows of this building, hearing footsteps or movement when no one is there, lights or blinds moving on their own, reports of like music playing late at night even though no one's around, and then the elevator or door malfunctions and there's no cause of that. So, yeah, so I found that fascinating. Also, they're saying that the old main actually burnt down in 1948 but was later rebuilt. So some people may blame Virginia's spirit for the fire, like revenge against her killer. That's what the legend is saying. I don't know. Maybe they're saying that the killer returned and started a fire. I don't know what's going on with that. But now what they do is that they actually host events like See the Ghost of Virginia. So they actually have
Oh,
events on campus. Students gather at midnight hoping to spot her in the windows. So Yeah. I don't know. So my question to both of you is, if she passed away on the stone and then the stone was used in the building, like, can that be a connection of some sort?
I don't
Well,
see why.
go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't, right?
Mm.
I definitely
Mm-hmm.
think it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if you think about throughout any kind of like stone knowledge, I mean, limestone is a conduit, right? There's many quartz crystal is a conduit, your amethyst are a conduit, and all in this locations are you're going to find your lime, your gems, and they're all going to be, and because there's no water, they're all invoked with the energy of the ley lines that run through these states. And absolutely, there's something to it. I mean, every rock does carry a property of energy in the metaphysics world. That's why people are so into stones, because they're trying to attract that energy to them. So even here in Connecticut, you can go down towards like Mohegan Sun and all down towards that Mystic Corner, and you can find lime rock all over Connecticut, actually, all over this part of New England. And it very much is a conduit, that will use energy that you can use.
So my belief, is stones, crystals, they all have their own kind of vibration, vibratory energy, right? And I do feel that there are certain entities, spirits that are attracted to that kind of vibration. And I think that's why you get in certain areas of different countries, like you might get elemental energy in one area because they're attracted to maybe that rock or that what is in that area. You know what I mean? So I don't see why it would make sense to me that her spirit could then be attracted to, or at least connected to, the area where she met her demise.
Absolutely.
Well,
I mean, you hear about different things, people that have furniture, right? And people buy secondhand furniture, and the energy of that person who owned it is still part of it.
Right, right.
So, why wouldn't it be a rock? Sure.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for that. That's what I found in Utah.
Ah.
So even though there's a lot more, but that's what I wanted to report on. So,
on to Arizona.
Yep. Heather, what'd you find?
Whoa, what didn't I find, right? Again, this whole corner, or this whole part of our geographic history, there's so much happening over there in the deserts, quite incredible. So I kind of did a blend, only because I thought maybe you were going to go in the whole Skinwalker and Blind Frog Ranch route. So I was like, oh my God, I got to talk about this, right?
Yeah.
So over in Sedona, Arizona, it is known, Sedona and that whole region sits on a ley line of energy that does form the flower of life of geographically around our earth. And so there's always these reportings, more than just ghost stories. It's more of, there's lots of lights flickering and lots of reports, right? And it's interesting because Sedona isn't actually the official haunted place of Arizona, but it does have its ghost stories, but their ghost stories don't necessarily happen in the hotels like we've been seeing all across the country. But what is stranger for Sedona is it does have a high strangeness, and I think it's because the energy is so different. Sitting on a ley line, that energy is pushing off a source of tones, hertz tones, and just having that energy ley line be a vortex for portals. And so there's all these accounts in Sedona that talk about unexplained lights, unexplained anomalies, energy anomalies, spiritual encounters. And I think it's all heightened because you're sitting on like literally a connection to the earth that produces this high amount of energy. So in Sedona area, there is the Bradshaw Ranch, and you cannot go there, but it is one of these local legends, kind of like Skinwalker Ranch and Blind Frog Ranch, except Discovery hasn't picked up the Bradshaw Ranch. It is currently abandoned, and so that's why you can't go there. But it's near Sedona. It's it's a ranch that was active right up into the 20th century. the rumors started circling around back in the 1900s. And this ranch is said that you will see shadowy human-like figures, tall, cloaked beings, which is like, you can see like there's different variations of the energy that walks there. But Bradshaw is known to have skinwalkers, and that is a skinwalker is, and the tribes that reside in this corner of the USA, they're like a nuance for them. It's a spirit who uses an animal to appear. And so there are many reports of people seeing strange animals behaving very unnaturally. And they say that skinwalkers use the energy of these ley lines and to appear. And also this corner of the kind of the USA is really well known for UFO sightings. There is, and glowing orbs. It's kind of, you know, it isn't your classic, like, you know, someone died here and now they linger. It is more of, this energy is interdimensional. It's a portal. There are so many theories, but when investigators had done work there, they saw figures appearing and then they would just vanish, and not so much intelligent, but maybe they are. They're just choosing not to interact with us in this portal kind of interdimensional energy. You know, electronics don't behave properly there. They say that there's always this feeling of like time slipping. And I you know, it's funny because like I can think of a few instances in my life where it's like, oh my God, where did the time go? Right. And I'm sure all of you can kind of place that as well. Right. It's like we time warped. I think Lisa and I have said that to each other many times. Like, what happened? Like, where did the time go? Right, Ryan? I mean, I'm sure you've been in that whole spot of feeling like, how did we get here? You know? But they do say it's a vortex, and very much that vortex is also said to attract the UFOs. So if you do believe in unidentified flying objects, it's a hotspot there. And you know what? Bringing Skinwalker to ranch and Blind Frog, and now even talking about this ranch, I would like to see that. I would love to go and see the zigzagging across the skies. And obviously this corner of the world doesn't have, or this corner of the United States doesn't have a huge amount of light pollution either. So like the stars are going to be beautiful. And one thing about me is I love to star watch. I love to go outside and just look up. So I'd like to see some objects hovering over me. I'd like to see if contact can be made, right? I'd like to see if the orbs respond as they say they do. But let's be clear, like skinwalkers do come from the Navajo tradition, and it is in Navajo tradition that it is a specific harmful practitioner. This is someone who, it's not, you don't loosely apply this word in this kind of tradition, but fascinating, right? The fascinating that it's a little diversion to what we've been kind of reporting. But I find it absolutely fascinating. So then I moved on. I didn't want to linger there too much, especially seeing how, you know, Ryan, you didn't jump in and can't banter off of you right now.
I'm very curious about something with skinwalkers. I don't know much about them.
Yeah.
The perception of them was that they were a negative entity, but they are.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they take the form of an animal to get closer to you because you might like to be near the animal. Is that how that works?
It's easier for them to use the portals in the skinwalkers. So skinwalkers is it's not just mythical, it's actually folklore for them. And as we know in history that most folklores, it was real at some point, right? That's how you get folklore. So it was real to somebody. So a skinwalker is someone who is a human sorcerer. And so up here in the north, we kind of call it witchery. And it is somebody in the native traditions who have achieved the highest priesthood. so to speak. And so they were chosen to use power, except they decided to use it for evil or negative instead of positive. And they firmly believe that these skinwalkers commit heinous crimes or heinous acts. Murdering, soul stealing. The Navajo and the Ute firmly believe that you never leave anything on the earth. Like, you don't spit. You know how some men and women spit on the earth, whatever's in their mouth out. You don't spit on the earth, because it's said a skinwalker can take that saliva and reincarnate into you and use it for demise. So like there's so much folklore, but it's a skinwalker is not known to be, and they usually choose the form of like a wolf or a coyote or a bear. And the reason why they do that is because those are vicious animals if you promote them, right? If you push a wolf or a bear back into the corner, it'll obliterate you. It'll eat you alive, right? Same with a coyote. You put a coyote in a certain situation, and all of the reason why is obviously in honoring on the good side of all that. When pelts are collected, coyote, bear, wolf were regalia for these Native Americans doing their tribals. So they're never, so sometimes it appears as the animal, or it appears as a person with the pelt on as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Wow. It's big history down there. That's big ghost story. It's not even ghost story. It's like big folklore down there, which they believe clearly that it still exists. And if you do watch Blind Frog Ranch, or you can find research on Bradshaw Ranch, and obviously Skinwalker, something's going on. And it's incredible how our scientists are all down there trying to really kind of figure out what's going on and maybe have contact made. But then I moved up into Prescott, Arizona, and I found the lady in pink.
Oh, yay!
Oh, nice.
There was a lady in black that smelled like roses. There was a lady in white, but we don't have a lot of ladies in pink. So the lady in the pink resides with her father at the Hassayampa Inn in Prescott, Arizona. The legend is around 1927, so not a super old folklore. Room 426 is the grand balcony suite. And this is where Faith, the lady in pink, was an abandoned bride on her honeymoon.
Always the bride.
Always the bride. So emotionally devastated. She was full of heartbreak. And it is said when you go into room 426, there is this consistent residual loop of grief. And every now and then there's an occasional intelligent interaction, but it is said that you will see her in her pink gown holding flowers, and her heart is very heavy, and she's a very quiet one, and she has this energy that's very waiting. Like, you can just feel her waiting for something. She's not angry, but people report that she just doesn't feel like she can cross over to the spiritual plane. It's like her business isn't finished.
All right.
Yeah. And I don't know if she's waiting for her husband to come back or what, but it is said that Dad will wait with her. Her name is Faith. Will wait with Faith, and you can have some form of interaction with her. Sometimes she chooses to be intellectual, and sometimes she just chooses to be kind of residual, stuck in that loop of grief. Wow. So I had other ones, but today we're going to cut it a little short because we have a special event happening, and I'm going to turn it over to Lisa and Ryan so that we can finish up.
All right. Well, I have an affirmation for us to finish out our time, if you like.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the affirmation I found. It's a little bit long, so stick with me. I am a divine, sovereign, radiant soul, and I'm ready to receive on all levels right now.
Wow.
Ooh, I think it's powerful saying right now. Let's go.
Right now. I think all too often we say, I'm working toward it, I will come to it, it'll come, or whatever. But when you use a word like right now, immediate, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's a mouthful too. Say it again.
I am a divine, sovereign, radiant soul, and I am ready to receive on all levels right now.
And so mote it be, right? Wow.
Receive on the emotional, the mental, our physical levels, spiritual levels right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I kind of like that. So until next week, we look forward to connecting.
Thank you for tuning in to Ready to Connect. If you're interested in exclusive behind-the-scenes content, be sure to like, share, and follow us on social media by searching for Ready to Connect Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And for those looking to further support our podcast, consider subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/readytoconnectpodcast. And until next time, get ready to connect.